Welcome back to the ARCA Menards series preview show as we're talking about ARCA and Charlotte this weekend. And we're, of course, joined by the ARCA Menards series PR director, Charlie Crawl. Hi, Charles. How are you?
Casey, what's happening, man? Good to be on. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you on. So we got Charlotte this week. Before we do that, boy, we had a fun time in Toledo last week. 14 cars, but they put on a show. Ty Gibbs got it done though. Just recap Toledo from your perspective.
So I'll tell you, we're seeing some history in the making here. I really do get that feeling every time we see Ty Gibbs on the racetrack. He is a young man with a very bright future, and he had him covered the other night. But boy, Corey Heim certainly put up a tremendous fight. And was able to sneak by and take the lead there for almost 50 laps. And, Ty fell almost a full straightaway behind and had to reel him in. And he worked hard to make it happen. And, it's his third win of the year and, fourth if you count the East race there at Dover. He is on a roll. He's looking really good. And, it was great to see all those fans in the stands. What a great crowd. What a great time. The car count was a little thin, Casey, and there's nothing we could do to hide that fact. We'd all love to have another, 10 or 15 cars out there competing. But the cars that were out there really did put on a good show. It was a fun race all the way around. The crowd had a great time. I had a great time, and I know you did too. So thanks for coming out and hanging with us. And, heading to Charlotte, I think we'll have a little bit more robust entry list down there. Should be a pretty good show, and everyone's going to be on the hunt to stop Ty Gibbs. Though that's going to be everyone's number one priority.
Okay, so two drivers I want to touch on. We got Corey Heim, second in points. He's put up a pretty good effort. He still leads the point standings by 17 points.
Yep.
And then something that is not really talked about enough. But Thad Moffitt is third in points. This is the highest he has ever been in the ARCA Menards series. He's been at this for quite a while. And what do you think about those two?
So Corey has had a great season. It's going to be tough to keep Ty Gibbs out of victory lane every week. Ty's really strong. Corey's the guy that can do it. He's got a great car, got a great team. You talk about the resources and everything that Joe Gibbs Racing has. Well, Venerini Motorsports is a very strong organization as well. And they've got some pretty solid drivers throughout their lineup. And Corey, obviously, out there chasing the championship for them this year. He's going to be solid each and every week. He's going to have to hope that he's going to have to beat Ty on the racetrack. That's what he's going to need to do here to stay in contention for that championship. And if Ty is winning races, Ty's scoring bonus points. That's the key to it. Bonus points are where it's at when you're up at the front of the field. So, Corey's going to need to get up there and win a couple of races and get that bonus point equation tilted back in his favor. But right now, Ty definitely is on a hot streak. As far as Thad, what can you say about this young man? He's having a fantastic season. One of my favorite people in the garage area. He and his dad Brian and his mom Rebecca, just a fantastic family. Always with a smile, says yes to every request that we make of him, and he performs on the racetrack as well. He is really growing into this role. Everybody talks about. Kyle Petty came and won in his first race. And, of course, Thad's, he's the fourth generation member of the Petty family. And, times are a lot different, than it was back in 1979. And, Thad has done a fantastic job developing into a front level driver here in the ARCA Menards series. And I think it's just a matter of time until he gets that first win. He's got great equipment. Has got a great team. He himself has really sharpened his skills quite a bit, and I look forward to it. It's going to be huge when we get another member of the Petty family back into victory lane, and And I'm with them. You know, I trust me. I love introducing Richard Petty's grandson at some of these races, and I can't wait till we really do just get to talk about Thad and his accomplishments. And we're getting there. He's what a fine young man, and like I said, he's really starting to knock the ball pretty solidly himself in his own right. So yep. I'm looking forward to that time.
Yeah, I got a chance to meet Brian this weekend. Of course, I've known Thad for a long time as well. Absolutely great people over there. We got a couple things that I want to ask you about. There's, we have the Sioux Chief Showdown with the short tracks and stuff, but now there's another championship that these guys are going after, and that is the General Tire Super Speedway Challenge, which continues this weekend. Kind of talk about that and kind of explain what that is.
So the General Tire Super Speedway Challenge is not a driver's championship. That's an owner's championship. And, it dates back to the early 1980s. We first started with the Super Speedway Challenge, I believe, 1983, 1984. And Davey Allison was the first winner, believe it or not. And he won that as an owner. He owned his own cars back in the early 1980s. We've seen the Venerinis have won it numerous times. James Finch is a former winner of the Super Speedway Challenge. In recent years, it's been, a toss-up. We've seen Ken Schrader has won it a couple of times, 2015 and 2017. Billy Venturini won with Dalton Sargent as the driver back in 2016. MDM, one of their owners, Matthew Miller, won in 2018. 2019, Chad Bryant won, and he had 3 different drivers.
Yeah, he did.
Hall, Ty Majeski, and Corey Heim. And then last year, of course, Stacy Holmes was the winner with his son Brett behind the wheel. So it's a kind of a cool thing. Just, I don't know that it maybe gets the attention or the press that, the Sioux Chief Showdown does, but still a very interesting part of the ARCA Menards series and our history and our traditions nonetheless.
And there's one more that I want to touch on. I don't think it's part of it this weekend, but the CGS Imaging 4 Crown Championship. Kind of explain what that is.
So that just really celebrates the diversity of our series. We started that at Kansas a couple of weeks back, and of course Ty won that race. We've got 3 more races coming up, and I do believe Mid-Ohio is part of that schedule this year. I know it's going to have a road course, a dirt track, and a short track as part of that as well. So, I don't have those races right in front of me, Casey. You kind of surprised me here, and I haven't committed them to memory, which is shame on me. But it celebrates the diversity of this series. And again, that dates back to 1984 as well. No surprise. Davey Allison won the first. Back then, it was called the Bill France 4 Crown. And it celebrated again all the various types of racetracks that we've run on over the years. Lee Raymond, Grant Adcox, Bob Keselowski, Bill Venturini, Tim Steele, Frank Kimmel. Those are all some of the winners who have won, back in the day. And, Brett Holmes, he's won the CGS 4 Crown the past 2 years. So, Brett had really gotten things figured out now that he has, won the championship and moved on into the Camping World Truck Series on a partial. And of course, he's going to be racing with us on a partial season this year as well. But, now that he has moved on, maybe that opens the door to someone else coming in and picking up that 4 Crown championship this year.
Of course. So speaking of course, there's going to be more cars at Charlotte, or at least we hope. But there's going to be a lot more in the field. Who do we expect to, besides the usual suspects of Ty Gibbs, Corey Heim, Nick Sanchez, Thad Moffitt, who else are we going to see? We're going to see the return of Drew Dollar, and Parker Chase makes his debut.
Right. And we'll have Jack Wood will be back in the 21. Okay. And, Greg Van Alst, who has announced his intention to run most of the super speedway shows, will be back. Dave Mader will be back, coming off of a great second place run there at Talladega. My favorite story, Andy Jankowiak.
Yeah.
73. Andy's such a great guy. He really is. He works hard, has all the desire in the world. He's exactly what the ARCA Menards series is here for. I mean, he just exemplifies everything we do. And Tony Breidinger will be back as well in the 02. So, like I said, expect the entry list here in the next couple of days, but it should be a little more robust, and then should be a pretty deep entry list there for Charlotte.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, as we touched on, Drew Dollar putting up a strong season, going to run in most of the super speedways this year. And then Parker Chase, of course, road course fans might know him for, on the IMSA side. And of course, he's ran a couple races for KBM this year, and he made his ARCA debut last year for Chad Bryant Racing at the Daytona road course. But he's going to go oval racing about 5 races this year and starting this week at Charlotte. How fun is it to have him in the series?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with him last year at Daytona on the road course, and we look forward to having him back. Anytime you buckle into a Venerini car, you've got yourself a good piece of equipment. So I expect he'll be a factor there at Charlotte, even though he doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of oval experience.
You touched on Dave Mader coming back. Of course, he finished second out there. The thing is with this field, you never know what to expect. And obviously we saw the last time Dave Mader was in an ARCA race, finished second at Talladega. And of course, he's I think he's 63, if I'm not 63, 64, same age as my father. How about what was it like to see guys like Dave Mader come out and run?
Well, I was at Michigan back in 1991 when Dave won back up there. That was a very, very cool deal to be there way back when. I was really pulling for him. I pull for everybody, Casey. I really don't have a preference who wins, but
I don't either.
I pull for a cool story. And Dave Mader winning at Talladega would have been a terrific story. And of course, he's a great guy, and he came up just so close there at the finish. It's a much different style of racing there at Daytona and Talladega. And I don't know what Dave's got for Charlotte, but I'm hoping that he gets a good, clean, solid run in, and would love to see him battling up there in the top 10. And, who knows, maybe it's his night and he can get up there and scrape around for the win. But, I really appreciate, some of these folks who have been around a while and the history that they've created behind them and the things that they've done. And Dave Mader III is someone who has been around a very long time, and I've been a fan of his for a long time. And anytime I get to see one of these guys I grew up with out there still racing, I'm going to be pulling for him.
Yeah. Of course, Andy Jankowiak, you mentioned the story of, with him, of course, from New York, got the car actually from, I think it was Ken Schrader. Where he bought the car from. And he delivers pizzas for a pizza place out in New York. Loves that. Got a chance to talk to him earlier this year. Just how exciting is it to have someone like that in the ARCA series?
It's very cool. That's exactly the type of guy that we would like to have, racing with us. The independent guy who wants to come out and race, maybe doesn't have the budget to go truck racing or Xfinity racing, and is he's racing to race, and that's what. We feel like this is a perfect platform for them. We're here to help develop drivers and get them ready for, truck, Xfinity, and Cup, and that's a big part of what we do. But, we also want to be home to the racers who are this is going to be their home. And, a guy like Andy, who knows, maybe he comes out and has some good runs, and a truck team takes a chance on him or whatever. But, if all he ever wanted to do was come and run the ARCA Menards series, we would be thrilled to have him. Just what a terrific guy, and hoping he has a great run down there in Charlotte.
Of course, I think we do too. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's preview show for Charlotte. Next week, we're going road course racing at Mid-Ohio. Speaking of returns, there's another familiar face that will return next week. And one of our favorites, of course, Sam Mayer will be back next week at Mid-Ohio. And of course,
you buy him some chicken nuggets for his return.
Maybe
you owe him some.
I might. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see. And the ARCA West Series is back at Sonoma next week. And before we go, kind of touch on the West Series return and some of the names that we might see.
Casey, I haven't seen the entry list just yet, so I have no idea who's going to be there. I would expect all of our West Coast regulars will, and I expect we'll see a smattering of some Cup drivers in there as well, just trying to get some track time. But it's always one of the better races of the season out there at Sonoma Raceway. Unfortunately, took the year off last year due to the pandemic, but it'll be great to be back out there at the road course, and I expect it's going to be a pretty good show.
Yeah, and of course, you'll be on the call for that race next week on Track Pass. But we got Charlotte this week. We'll talk Mid-Ohio and Sonoma next week, same time, same place.